This is all your equipment?
Yeah.
What you mean it's not nothing? Don't downplay your blessings. Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
It's not downplay.
Okay. Well, you said it's not nothing, so that's a downplay. To me, it's something because I don't have it. Mm-hmm.
But you're doing your thing, right?
You're nothing. Could be someone else's something.
I understand it.
So don't downplay your something. It's something to me.
Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? You see what happened? She's giving me words of
probably
encouragement.
just spiked your audio levels because I got the mic all the way up here laughing.
No.
We can edit that.
Yeah, we're not.
Okay.
We're not. You know why?
Authentic
Because Promise
moment.
Mangum Papa Podcast, this is what happens. Whatever comes out, this is what happens. So, down here, at EIS 2019.
Yes.
It's late. It is late. But so much good information has been said throughout these halls.
And we got some good food, y'all. Some good shrimp. I mean, some good brownies.
I wasn't trying to plug that.
Talk about it.
But go ahead.
Talk about
Look,
it.
The meatballs
I don't
that
think
Carolina Hops and Vineyard puts out there. Okay, you see that? You see that? The
There you
meatballs, them shrimps. Okay, that chicken, that was it? It was a
it
chicken
was like
salad.
a meatball. Did you say the meatballs already?
meatball.
They had a pasta salad.
Pasta salad.
Okay.
That little veggie plate.
So we can talk about it. At first I avoided it, but then my sister Jasmine, a Joy Consulting, looked that up as well.
They know.
Unplugged. Okay, they already know because
she's on here.
She's gonna be on here. So I'm sorry, I'm late because it's late, like he said.
It's late.
But she put me on the pasta salad, y'all, and it was a blessing.
There
So
you
if
go.
you missed it this year in 2020, you got to catch us again. The Engagement and Inclusion Summit, Piedmont Business Capital.
I'm glad somebody got it right because I have yet to get this right. Anyway, go ahead and let everybody know who you are, what you do, and why do you do it.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Kennedy Curry. So I started a brand and a community called Her Relationship, and the reason I started Her Relationship is because I understand that there is a value in relationships, right? And I think that particularly for women, if we can identify what our values are as women, and if we understand that when we are matched with godly men, good men, now we can make our demands plain, we can write the vision, we can make it plain, and we can say, these are the things that I value. Now I can meet you here. This is where I am spiritually and personally. So it's all about just expressing faith creatively. And the way that I've done that, I've started community groups from this platform. That each group has about 50 women. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I also have a podcast, and it's called the Her Relationship Podcast. So be sure to tune in wherever you listen to your podcast. You can find us, whether it's Google Play, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We got it for you. So definitely connect. You can contact me directly at KennedyCurry@herrelationship.com and visit our website if you want to know more info. But I appreciate the opportunity to talk more about it.
Oh, is that it? Or are we done with the podcast?
You said, no, I mean, no, if there's...
No.
Yeah, I mean...
No, for real, no, because like you went to the whole spiel and then you just did this. Anyway, how did you come up with the podcast? How did you come up with the brand? How did you come up with this?
Right. So when I graduated from High Point University last
HPU?
year, HPU, played basketball there. All my life I grew up as a student athlete, and I identified myself heavily with basketball and with sports. When I graduated from grad school, studied communications, once I graduated, I was trying to figure out what is it, Kennedy, that you want to do with this education. And being spiritually connected, my creator for me is God. It may be different for you, but that's who my creator is. That's my source. So God placed in my lap a vision to pour into women and to reach out to women, to hold them accountable, and to teach them the things that have been ingrained in me as a woman. And that's to value yourself and to value your relationship spiritually and personally. So that's ultimately why this is started, is to pass that message along and to help women find that value within themselves spiritually and personally in their relationships.
Nice. Excellent.
Thanks. Thank you. I'm so glad we connected.
Definitely. Oh, yeah.
I met Promise. If y'all haven't connected with Promise, y'all need to plug in. Plug in. His spirit is radiant.
Oh, really?
It really is.
It is?
It is. I don't just say stuff. I promise I don't. Tune into the podcast. I don't just say stuff.
Hey.
I try to speak from here.
I guess I am a good person.
You are a good person. Look at what you're doing for people and entrepreneurs,
Yeah,
aspiring entrepreneurs. Like, look at what you're doing. You're giving us a platform. And that's what her relationship does as well. It just gives women a platform to express faith creatively.
I like how you said that. Express faith creatively.
Express faith creatively, because ultimately that, to me, is what entrepreneurship is. That's what embarking on a vision is. You're expressing your faith in a creative way. So for you, it's offering a platform to folks. You're asking them who they are, what they do, why they do it.
Oh, yeah.
You're expressing your faith in a creative way to say, I don't know who's going to tune in to the pop-up podcast, but you know what? We're going to do it anyway. And with the other podcasts you have, like you're doing it.
I ain't gonna sit there and lie. I know she ain't gonna say it. I drink beer.
I'm gonna say I don't even know what the business card.
I drink beer, I review beer, but guess what? I do it because it's needed.
Mm-hmm.
The community needs it. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome to see that other people haven't really thought about this stuff, and even if they do, it's not gonna be as cool as the Pop-Up Podcast or the NC Brew Crew, or I'm guessing her relationship. It's not going to be as cool because guess what? We understand what we're down here to do.
That's right. Understand what
cool.
our purpose is.
That's it.
We make promises and we keep them.
Try to be. I ain't going to say try to be. Try to be.
Oh, so question for you, Promise.
Oh,
I'm in podcast mode too. So what's the coolest place that you've done a pop-up podcast thus far?
Honestly, is it Art Warehouse right down the street?
Okay, cool. So we're in Winston-Salem, for those that don't know.
Yeah, we're in Winston-Salem. It's an art gallery and an Airbnb. I did a podcast there in the art gallery in a room, and we only had 1 hour to prep, get the podcast done, and get out because guess what? Somebody already rented the Airbnb. So it was pretty awesome. It's a pretty awesome, and you can't find it unless you know exactly where it is. That I ain't gonna sit there and lie. Shout out to Zach McCraw, one of the funkiest dudes I've ever met. He always has shades on. I forgot his homegirl's name, but it's like it was just really cool, really quirky, really like, yo, this is pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. So that was one of the best places I've done one in a while.
That's really cool. How did you get connected?
Literally, like, people talk.
Oh.
Winston-Salem is not as big as people think. So if you're on the creative side, people talk. And whether it's a good talk or bad talk or whatever, they see something and it's kind of like, yeah, he keeps doing something. Let's see what's up.
Yeah.
And that's how I got into it. That's how they, invite me out there or whatever. It was pretty dope.
Word of mouth.
That's it.
Word of mouth, people. I'm learning that.
Yeah.
I'm learning that.
I literally just got my business cards maybe 2 weeks ago. Maybe. Because I just told people, like, if you can't follow me, find me up. If you can't find me up, you're going to ask about me, and you're going to find me. And then I just got tired of saying that. So
right.
I went ahead and spent the $10 and got my business cards. So that's how that happened.
Well, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for offering your platform to me.
Oh, yeah.
To talk about what I do and who I am and why I do it. I've loved talking to you, and eventually, we haven't had guests on the Her Relationship podcast yet.
Oh, really?
But that's coming. So it's not, even though the audience that we're looking to reach is primarily women, we do have a lot of male listeners.
You got to.
And exactly.
Diversify. You
got to.
Hey,
right.
Hey.
Come on.
Me and my girl always get into it, quote unquote, whatever the case is. I'm not going to get into the whole personal thing or whatever the case, but we always get into it. So it hits differently when another woman says something and she hates the fact of if another woman says something and I listen or I can take a couple gems from that. And it's like, well, I said that and you didn't move or whatever. And it's like, Well, I'm not trying to move like in that realm or whatever because I'm too busy trying to take care of you or whatever the case is.
Wow.
Now, that does not mean I don't love you. I'm not respecting you or whatever the case. I'm just simply getting my information that you said from another platform or whatever,
Correct.
and then trying to continuously show you that I do love you.
That's it.
So it's a little insight right there into a personal thing. So I do commend you for doing that, and I do see why men may take up a little bit more than what women listen to on that, because we may not listen to our women. If you were out there working, grinding, trying to get stuff done, you might just be like, I'm out here working. That is it. But I can leverage a 5 or 10 or 15-minute podcast on the way to work or whatever from somebody else and be like, you know what, you all right. Let me see if I implement that. Is my life going to change? 90% of the time it does. So
a prime example of why we will have male guests on the podcast, because I think it's going to be important, because I look at my life and where I am right now, and it's hugely because of not only the women in my life, but definitely attributed to the men and the examples in my life and their opinions and their experiences, because y'all are really real with the women in your lives to let us know, like, hey, do not pursue that because he's a mess. He's not worth your time. I can see straight through him. This is how we think. Ladies, we gotta hear the men. We can't tune them out and think that all of them are not worth anything. That's not the case. They got stuff to say. We gotta listen.
It's very tough because both of us, me and my girl, our fathers were in our lives, married. We were in a 2-parent household and stuff like that.
Same here.
I think it really turns because there's an expectation that comes.
Right.
When it's like, my dad did this, therefore my spouse, my husband, or whatever, needs to be like this. And it doesn't turn out that way. I learned a long time ago, Chloe is not like my mom. There are a lot of traits, characteristics, and stuff like that, but Chloe is not my mom. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I gotta just roll the punches and go.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I understand that. Baby, can you understand that? Mm-hmm. And it's kind of tough to be like, no, this is how it is. And that's just how I think. That's just how I think. It's like, she makes me feel like I have this level I have to get to, and it's like, I'm not there. I'm not trying to be mean about it, but it's like, I'm not there, and I may never be on that level, because that's your father. I am me. Now, I have enough traits like him to where it's like, okay, we'll be together. So, just throw that out there. Once again, promise Mangum.
From my perspective, I know this ain't the only episode on this podcast, so I'm not going to take up all the promises time. However, from a woman's perspective, just to piggyback off of that point, women, we are taught, not necessarily taught, but it's one thing that circulates around women's communities, is that we typically are going to look for men that remind us of our father, of course, and then for some of my sisters out here that might be listening that maybe didn't have their fathers present, I have friends that can attest to that, so I understand where you're coming from as well. But generally, the thing is, you're going to look for a man that's like your father, and the same is the same for men that might look for women that remind them of their mom. So that might, I think, because even I think about my relationship with my boyfriend and some of the things that I want him to understand how to do that remind me of my dad. Like, my dad's a handyman. He's a mechanic. He's an electrical engineer. He's all of these things by trade, and this is what he does. But I can't expect just because that's who my dad is for my boyfriend to be the same person. So I'm just offering that up as a perspective, and it's just an idea of why Chloe. Of why Chloe might be thinking the way that she is, because I do the same thing, and we don't always admit that, promise, but it's something that we think of. We're like, this was my daddy, and he spoiled me. He got me to this point. He fixed everything that was broken. I want you to do the same thing. So
a man is going to spoil you. Period. A man, if he loves you, he's going to spoil you, but he is not going to take a lot of mess with that. Like, he will. He'll take a lot, but then he goes to a point that's kind of like, look, I have to man up.
Right.
On certain things or whatever. It doesn't mean I don't love you, but like I have to man up and stand my ground on this. Just like a woman. I'm not going to sit there and say like a woman's going to say, I don't want you to do this, and she's going to stand her ground. Right. If a man loves you, he is going to respect that and take note of that and try to do as best as he can.
Right.
So I understand that.
Agreed.
Great interview.
Such a great dialogue. Isn't he great?
I think I might have to go ahead and cut this for your podcast as well. That way you can go ahead and have a little segment. That way, when you decide to get another male person on there.
And guest period, because I've not had a guest yet. So
hey.
Is Promise going to be the first guest?
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'm just promised.
We'll see. We'll see. I make no promises.
That's what it is. Promise Mangum, pop-up podcast. We're out here at EIC 2019. That is EIS, yeah. So, you know what? That is where we at, okay? That is where we at. Promise Mangum, pop-up podcast. Hey, it's lit. Y'all should be here. I think we got about 20 more minutes until it closes down.
Yeah, I think we might be wrapping up. We got people coming out, grabbing their last couple photos, people taking the last couple shrimps.
That's it.
And the shrimps are over. They're done. If you weren't here to get them, contact them. One more time. Contact them. There we go.
That's what it is. Promise Mangum, Pop-Up Podcast. Holla at y'all later. Peace.